And yet this was also showmanship by a politician known for his mastery of what they call unscripted reality TV, taking this supremely visible seat in the VIP box with his new running mate and party leaders and a longtime TV personality, Tucker Carlson, up there as well last night. Here's how the New York Times put it. On the first night of this convention, Trump was his own biggest prop. He entered the VIP box, a large white bandage on his injured right ear, the result of a close call on Saturday with a would-be assassin's bullet. A reminder of mortality, a badge of survival. It was a blank rectangle on which the crowd could read what it wished, and that made it the most potent placard in the hall. That's fair. A placard for delegates to fill in, an image for political mobilization, a spectacle for this candidate who we know is, by his own admission, obsessed with assorted spectacles. These aren't normal times. This is not a normal convention. Whether that makes it abnormal in a way that is either special or abnormal in a way that is bad is what voters will assess, because many are watching over the course of these nights, along with you and our team here. There is a political quest here to mine and use Donald Trump's injury, and whether his allies and Republicans or the candidate himself do that in a way that overextends their credibility will be decided by the voters. That is one good thing we hope we can still agree on in this country, because this is both, as I said, a scary reality we all lived through this weekend and a political project.
It wasn't shot in the face enough for them. It wasn't enough. He did more face. That's the point. They can't help themselves. The Trump derangement syndrome is real. It's so asinine.
All right, guys. So we got to talk about MSNBC, whom, following the failed assassination attempt on former President Trump, very, very, very briefly indicated that maybe, just maybe, they will not engage in hateful, vitriolic, gutter snipe, unhinged commentary that takes place on a daily basis on their network about the former president. Maybe, just maybe, they would actually be real journalists, okay? This is what they indicated when they canceled Joe Scarborough the Monday following the failed assassination attempt on Trump, because they were afraid that one of their guests may come on the show and say something stupid, okay? Too stupid to air on MSNBC, which is a very hard thing to do, okay? Extremely hard to do, but they were so afraid, okay? Tells you everything you need to know about what they believe about their opinion commentators, right? That they're not journalists. They're simply opinion folks, and their opinions are unhinged. However, it seems like somebody upstairs at MSNBC decided that no, it is okay to engage in unhinged, irresponsible, gutter snipe political commentary in response to the president's failed assassination attempt, because they have now ratcheted up their Trump derangement to a level that, again, I didn't think was possible, but they're showing that it most certainly is possible, because they're now floating a conspiracy theory about Trump's injury. More specifically, the narrative behind the injury, okay, which is that Trump was shot in the ear. Now, Trump has confirmed this himself, that he has in fact been shot in the ear, and that's why his ear is damaged. You also have some 3D imagery simulation showing the angle of the shot, how Trump turned his head, and how the bullet would have nicked his ear while he turned his head at the angle that he did, basically showing that it was a miracle that was done by God, okay, in my opinion. But yeah, all these things are out there, but for whatever reason, MSNBC, they are not buying this, right? They're actually obsessed with prior reports that maybe Trump's ear got injured from glass shards that were broken from the teleprompter that was hit by one of the bullets, okay? And MSNBC is essentially demanding answers to these questions as if, again, this constitutes real investigative journalism. And I want to talk about it because Trump Jr. is going off on MSNBC again for essentially pushing this insane conspiracy about what happened to his father. But before we get into it, you never know when you're going to experience a serious injury, like, for example, being in a car accident. And because of that, you should always be prepared to fight for the compensation that you deserve, which is why The sponsor of this video is Morgan & Morgan. Guys, I've been injured in a motor vehicle accident. You've probably been injured in a motor vehicle accident, or somebody that you know, okay? We all have somebody that we know, whether it be ourselves or somebody else, that has been injured. And sometimes that injury can be worth millions of dollars. And this is why the sponsor of today's video is Morgan & Morgan, who wants to let you know that they do not settle for lowball offers, because oftentimes that is exactly what insurance companies try to do to clients. But Morgan & Morgan will fight to get you what you deserve if you become their client. All law firms are not the same, and Morgan & Morgan is the biggest for a reason. They have won a lot, and it only takes a few minutes to see if you have a case. And as America's largest injury law firm, Morgan & Morgan is ready and prepared to take on insurance companies of every size. If you are in an accident or injured in any way, you should know how to protect your rights. Don't overthink it. Take actions to protect your rights today. For example, they have achieved significant verdicts in the past couple of months for victims involved in life-altering car crashes. They had a $12 million settlement out in Florida, 34 times the insurance offer, and $26 million out in Philadelphia, which is 40 times the highest insurance offer. And the best part is that the fee is absolutely free unless you win. If you've ever got seriously injured, your case could be worth millions, and you are just a few clicks away from potentially changing your life. And it is so easy. You can start your claim today with Morgan & Morgan at www.forthepeople.com/blackconservative, which is the special link in the description, or you can scan the QR code that you see on the screen in order to get started.
Let's start with last night in the Band-Aid. That's fine. Where I am at this point is it's been 3 days going on 4 since this horrific event occurred. A person lost their life, 2 have been severely injured, and yet we've not received a medical report from the hospital, nor have we received a medical report from the campaign or from the Trump organization about the extent of the damage to his ear. If he was shot by a high caliber bullet, there should probably be very little ear there. And so we'd like to know that. Is there cosmetic surgery involved? What is the prognosis for recovery? Were there stitches? What is the extent and nature of the damage to his ear? Was it caused by a bullet, as opposed to, as some reports from those on the scene, other reporters, saying that it was actually shards of glass from the teleprompter itself, not the bullet? So there are a lot of questions around that ear, and yet there's been no response to that. Instead, just showing the image of the man coming into the hall with the wounded ear.
Let me jump in on that.
Politics.
Let me jump in on that, and then we'll continue. We're looking at that photo. Michael Steele is correct. While there is a certain amount of time that could be understandable for any medical scenario, the calls around the current president's medical condition, the questions around his capacity, right, are also the same questions you have in a medical event like this. Certainly the public would want to know as much as possible about both incidents, and the Trump campaign has not been the most transparent. So I think getting medical records and briefing on that at some point would be appropriate. That's what journalists often ask for.
You know what's hilarious about this, guys? Is the fact that these people are making this false equivalency to, well, we were demanding Biden's medical records, and Biden and his mental condition has been under question lately. So therefore, it's also appropriate to ask questions about Trump's ear. But again, how long did it take for the mainstream liberal media to start asking questions and demanding answers about Biden's health? How long did it take? How long did it take? It took years, right? Years. But for Trump, though, MSNBC can't wait 48 hours. They can't wait 48 hours before they start pushing conspiracies about whether or not Trump actually got shot, because that's what they're trying to do here, guys. They're trying to dismantle the narrative that Trump was shot, okay? And they're also trying to dismantle the narrative that this shooter most likely was influenced and incited by left-wing rhetoric that is oftentimes projected on outlets like MSNBC by anti-Trump Republicans like Michael Steele, which is something that the media is trying to pretend is not a thing, right? Like anti-Trump Republicans who are deranged and unhinged in their hatred for Trump That doesn't exist, okay? Because, again, the shooter allegedly was a registered Republican, donated to progressive causes, but the media is stuck on, well, he was a registered Republican, so therefore we absolve the responsibility. Because Republicans don't become Trump deranged based off rhetoric that comes from the Democrats and the far left. That doesn't happen, even though, again, we quite literally have examples of it on MSNBC. Joe Scarborough, Michael Steele. I mean, these people are effectively Democrats, right? They're liberals, okay? But they still have that R by their name, okay? Maybe not Joe Scarborough. I think Joe Scarborough actually is an independent now. But he still claims to be a conservative, which, I mean, in my opinion, I don't say they're conservative about the guy, but this is what he claims. Anyways, my point is this, okay? These people are desperately trying to change the narrative, and what they're doing now is that they're pushing this unhinged conspiracy that, well, Trump wasn't actually shot, okay? Because they know how much street cred comes with being shot, right? And that's the last thing that they want. Again, remember, Joy Reid said that, listen, we shouldn't allow Trump to play victim here, okay? As if, again, being the target of an assassination attempt in which you almost died, that doesn't make you a victim, right? Because Trump is just so evil and so bad, okay, according to the media. So again, this is what they're doing, and Trump Jr. is going to go on Fox News and respond to MSNBC pushing this wild conspiracy about his father.
Don, your dad has been impeached. Sorry, Steve. Impeached. He's been arrested. Now he's been shot, and the left is still questioning his injury. Listen to this.
There are a lot of questions around that ear, and yet there's been no response to that. Instead, just showing the image of the man coming into the hall with the wounded ear.
A spectacle for this candidate who we know is, by his own admission, obsessed with assorted spectacles. There is a political quest here to mine and use Donald Trump's injury, and whether his allies and Republicans or the candidate himself do that in a way that overextends their credibility will be decided by the voters.
Again, how disgusting is this, man? I mean, the former president was almost assassinated. He almost had his brains blown out for the world to see on camera. And these people are questioning the injury, right? They're concerned about whether or not he was actually injured or whether or not he was actually shot. And it's like, why does it matter, right? To a normal person, it shouldn't matter, considering how we all can agree and see that he was millimeters, inches, centimeters away from being dead, from being killed. That's all that matters. Doesn't matter if he actually was shot, which I have no reason to believe he wasn't. Doesn't matter if his ear was damaged as a result of the bullet hitting the teleprompter. He still was injured as a result of being shot. So it didn't matter if he was shot or not, right? It doesn't matter if the bullet actually hit him, okay? But again, to these people, it does matter. Well, why does it matter? It's because they want to play down what happened here is not a big deal, not a serious thing, because they understand how much this is helping Trump politically. It's really disgusting. It really is.
They're wondering if he's using this for sympathy. Was it really glass from the teleprompter, not a bullet?
He wasn't shot in the face enough for them. It wasn't enough. He did more face. That's the point. They can't help themselves. The Trump derangement syndrome is real. It's so asinine that they could say that. I mean, you see the photograph at the time. There's blood everywhere.
You see the bullets whizzing by his ear.
That was an incredible photo as well. But I don't think any of that matters, honestly. They did the same thing to me when I was on the floor. Eric and I were there. We were going to throw my father over the delegate count. It's a huge moment for our family. And 30 seconds before that, some MSNBC, did your father put...
Hold on. We've got the soundbite.
Oh, good.
Roll tape.
I think he did spend a lot of time changing up the message of what it's been. He's been under constant attack, but it's a different time in America. A lot's happened in 48 hours.
Don, what is that change going to look like, Don? What practically, your father as president, I think you would even say, was a divisive figure. What's it going to look like in the second term?
I don't think he was a divisive figure at all. I think the media created divisiveness around him. They lied about Russia collusion. They said he was a traitor.
As you were saying.
Yeah, that wasn't the part. The part when he came out here and he said this to you. He said, oh, will there be another child separation policy? You separated 8,000 before.
Yeah. And, well, he started talking about cages. And I'm like, this 30 seconds before this, 48 hours after my father was shot. I go, you mean the Obama cages?
Right.
And he goes, that wasn't true. I go, but it is true. It's 100% true. He's been fact-checked since. And I just said, you know what? Honestly, you're a clown.
Yeah, just go away.
Go away. Why am I even wasting my time? Because 48 hours ago, my father was shot in the head, and they can't stop. Right? This is the same as what they did with Russia. Even when they knew it was wrong, they kept going it. It was impeachment 1, it was impeachment 2. Democrats just as bad. They're out there. They're trying to bankrupt our family. They're trying to take away my father's businesses. When that doesn't work, they try to throw him in jail. And of course, when someone spends years calling you Hitler and a fascist and a this, and by the way, not just my father, half of the country, what do you expect?
Yeah, I mean, he's right. What do you expect? What do you expect? I mean, this is what they're doing. And again, this new theory that they're pushing that, well, Trump wasn't really shot. We don't know if he's actually really injured. Again, this is one step away from the unhinged, deranged leftists claiming that it was staged, right? I mean, it's one step away from that, right? That's where it is right now. That's where MSNBC is. But yeah, if you come out here and you ask real questions that journalists should be asking, which is not about whether or not Trump actually was shot, okay, or whether or not he was actually injured, because we all saw the footage. That's not a question you should be asking. What you should be asking is, well, why did this happen? Why would this allow to happen? But we all saw in prior videos what happens when you ask real journalistic questions. Well, they freak out about that, right? Like I showed you guys yesterday, the CNN anchor freaking out at Corey Mills, the Republican congressman who was an ex-military sniper. This guy was essentially saying that, hey, there could have been some intentionality and we need to ask more questions. We need more investigations. And that woman was freaking out. Oh, how dare you? How dare you say we need to do an investigation to ask more questions about that, about why this was allowed to happen? But apparently, according to MSNBC, what you really should be asking about is whether or not Trump actually was injured, right? Again, it's sad. It really is. Okay. I just can't believe just how low the media is going here when it comes to their Trump derangement. I just didn't think it was possible, but they just showed that it quite literally is possible. There are levels to Trump derangement that unfortunately have not been discovered yet. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.